In this review we're back on the road with heavy haulage. This is a limited edition model from WSI and it consists of a Scania S 8x4 tractor with a 5-axle Nooteboom low loader and 3-axle dolly. The model arrives in the usual WSI packaging for a truck model, and as always we start with some knife work to let the model out. This model is a limited edition and it's in the colours of Navigator Transport. And despite the English sounding name, it's a company based in Poland. Out of the box comes the various parts of the model, and there are also a couple of bags containing smaller parts. Another thing that's included is an instruction sheet, and this covers the Nooteboom trailer. It deals with different variants, not just the one that's in the box. And on the back of the sheet it's nice to see some information about the real trailer. So for the assembly we'll get the whole truck ready for the road and we'll start with the trailer. And the rear 5-axle module clips on to the trailer deck. There's an interlocking connection and you secure it with a steel pin. And the only issue is it's a little bit tricky for anyone with salami-sized fingers. With that connection made we can turn it over and then connect the dolly that sits at the front. This connection is slightly different, you just hook over the deck and rotate the dolly and press in the connector. Once that's done we can then move on to adding the gooseneck, and that fits on in a similar way. The dolly's hooked over and we rotate the gooseneck to force in the connection. This was very stiff on the review model, but with a bit of effort a good connection was made. Now that the trailer is fully assembled we can then add it on to the tractor. And as usual that's simple enough. Clunk click does the trick. And with the whole truck basically assembled we can then move on to sorting out the detail. There are a couple of hose connections to make, and the first one we'll do is from the dolly into the deck, and the second one runs from the gooseneck. There's no particular place to plug this one in however, so we just tuck it in. While we are still at the front we can add on a couple of marker boards, and these fit easily into slots on the gooseneck. After that we run down to the other end of the trailer as fast as we can, and once we're there we can clip in a marker board assembly. There's also a small plate we can add into the well at the end, but it was not a good fit on the review model so it takes some fidgeting about to get it to stay in place. An unusual inclusion with this model is a Convoy Exceptionnel sign, and it's not clear how you fit it. So after a 17-hour meeting the Cranes etc. engineers decided to bend the tabs at the bottom of the sign, and once that's done you can try to replicate the position of the sign as you see it on the real truck. Starting underneath the big Scania, and as you can see the chassis is very detailed. All of the component parts are high quality and there are different tyres on the driven and steering axles. The Scania looks very impressive in the Navigator colour scheme, and there are nice graphics and highlighting around the grille. There's also a small Convoy Exceptionnel sign, as well as a number plate. Looking sideways on, and the wheels are nicely decorated with blue hubs, and the graphics on the side of the cab are excellent. Behind the cab there is this big equipment tower, and it has tanks and cabinets, and there are coiled lines. At the back the wheel arches are very nicely modelled. There's a tilting fifth wheel, and the rear lights have plastic lenses. Moving to the trailer, and both of the modules have a similar construction, and it's robust with lots of metal and nice detailing. But perhaps the highlight of the detailing is the gooseneck. There's some very nice graphics around the sideboards, and the detailing of the control console is first rate. Also very nice on this model is the replica tarpaulin cover, and although it's in plastic it looks great. It's really nice how the texture of the tarpaulin has been captured. Behind the gooseneck there are some very nice textured surfaces, and there are highlighted bolt heads on the plates above the axles. The wheels on the modules also look very convincing. The deck has a plastic replica timber, and the detailing down the edges includes the fold-out outriggers. At the back there's more high detail, and that includes beacon lights and some excellent graphics. We adopt our usual pose to look at the chassis, and the front two axles have linked steering, but the angle is limited. Out on the Cranes etc. test track and the Scania rolls well, but let's check it with some steering lock on. There is enough lock to give an interesting pose, but probably not enough lock to actually get you round a corner. With that said, I can hear you all shouting, "Tilt that cab!" And there you see it, and there's a detailed engine underneath, and the cab can be posed in a tilted position. So stop your shouting as we close the cab up. We've seen these modules before on many reviews in the past, and they are willing runners in a straight line. These modules are highly engineered and they have linked steering, so the 5-axle module has full linked steering and it's proportional, with the rear axle steering the most. Moving to its smaller brother, it also has steering, and that's more parallel in nature. Both modules also have fully sprung suspension. Another feature of the low-loaded deck is that it's extendable, although it was a bit stiff on the review model. It is long, so let's get the tape out and do a dim check, and it's about 26 inches long or 66 centimeters. Another option you have is to remove the tarpaulin cover if you just want an open gooseneck, but the cover's high quality so it looks good. Supplied with the model are metal deck posts, and you just press these into holes along the edge of the deck. They are a good fit and they stand up quite straight. So in this configuration, let's put down some timbers, and then the giant hand crane can go to work and bring in a large piece of precast concrete. If you want, you can configure the trailer without the 3-axle module, and then you just hook up the deck straight to the gooseneck. To get the angles right, there's a small spacer piece which you insert, and then you can attach the trailer to the big Scania. As you can see, the deck is then level. If you need some extra width, you can carefully pull out all of the little outrigger beams, and once they're properly lined up, you place the deck beams. And as long as you get them in the right order, they span correctly. Here's our shortened trailer, and we can add on a different type of load. This is a really nice looking heavy haulage model from WSI Models. The quality of the detailing on this limited edition is excellent, and the engineering of the model gives you many display options. So if you're looking for a really good heavy haulage model, then this one is excellent.